Every wreckage has an origin story. I spent the early part of my career at a large but locally based brokerage, and then I moved to a national franchise model. The brokerage names don't matter, which is kind of the point. As an agent community, we get way too wrapped up in brokerage as a personality. You've heard of Disney adults? Well, we've got KW adults, Remax adults, EXP adults, agents who make their brokerage their whole identity and not just their business identifier. It's silly. Brokerages should serve us as agents. They don't serve our clients. That part's on us, and honestly, that's where it belongs. Hi, I'm Christy. I ran a real estate team in the Seattle area, and this is Teamwrecked, a real estate team remodel shared with you in real time. I've only been at 2 brokerages my whole career. I moved to the national because I wanted to build a team. If you want to build a team in real estate, people will tell you there's 2 paths. Join a brokerage built for teams, or just start your own brokerage. I had zero desire to start a brokerage, so the choice seemed rather obvious. But watching the industry evolve, I'm realizing that some of the big models that have defined the modern team aren't actually building the tools, support, or using the creativity to take us where we're going next. That's what set me on this path. I spent 2024 forcing a pattern break for myself. When you've been doing this long enough, you end up walking the same halls, hearing the same speakers, making tiny tweaks to the same playbook. I wanted new rooms and new voices. I wanted new coaches and new ways of thinking. So I went looking for them. Different networks, different ideas, different people. And once I did, it got crystal clear. My team can't keep thriving on the same platform with the same drama and somehow still expect a different future. The gossip doesn't matter. The future does. I need a platform that's going to carry us forward, not one that peaked 15 years ago. It's easy to talk about the future, but to move forward, you have to look backward, to take an inventory of what's working, what's not, and what's actually worth rebuilding. Teamwrecked doesn't mean that everything was broken. We did a lot right. In fact, before we talk more about what needs fixing, we should give some credit to what worked. Our new agent onboarding was honestly top tier. It walked people through who we are, the value we deliver, how to talk to clients, lead generation, buyers, negotiation, open houses, a full walkthrough of the job and our standards. It really works. When we launched the team in early 2020, instead of spiraling during the shutdowns, we used that slowdown to build procedures and direction. That foundation helped. It was just me and an assistant then, and while everyone was yelling, "Pivot!" we quietly got to work. We mapped onboarding, documented standards, tightened client communication, and created a simple rhythm for lead gen, buyers, negotiations, and opens. Slowing down didn't stall us, it let us lay a better track. That's why when the world restarted, we didn't scramble. We accelerated. That groundwork gave us confidence, but it also exposed what still needed refinement. Growth, it always does. Our onboarding and training programs became one of our strongest pillars, a place where we truly did get it right. Every new agent, no matter their background, walked into a system that was effective and easy to follow. It gave people confidence and competence at the same time. But it wasn't perfect. Real estate changes constantly. Forms, rules, expectations. And so every time we onboarded, I got to rewrite the training. The content kept getting better, but my capacity didn't. I loved teaching, but the pace became impossible to sustain. Eventually, the constant rewriting started to burn me out. But still, it worked. It was building agents who were prepared, confident, and capable. And now, as we rebuild, we want to keep that heart, keep the clarity, the structure, the accountability, but we want to shift how it's delivered. We want cohort-based onboarding, recorded sessions for the repeatable stuff so live time can stay focused on practice, feedback, and better coaching. The foundation that we built in 2020 gave us a model that's worth keeping, but now it's about evolving that model to scale. Some of what we built worked beautifully. Other parts, not so much. The goal now isn't to tear everything down, it's to refine what created friction. First, accountability and coaching. I can teach standards all day, but where we fell down was in ensuring that those standards actually happened. That was on me. We need to engineer real accountability into the next version, not through micromanagement, but through clarity and consistency. For a long time, I've been carrying too much of that myself. I was the coach, I was the producer, I was the team leader, all at once. And when you're trying to do all of it, you end up doing none of it as well as you want to. And that trade-off, it really did starve the team. I was pretty great at keeping the lights on, but what my team needs and needed was a lighthouse. Production pulled me into the day-to-day, and coaching became episodic instead of consistent. The fix isn't more willpower. I had plenty of that. It's design. It's dedicated support, real cadence, visible accountability, and possibly a little bit of outsourcing. And then there's our brand name. One of the biggest mistakes that I made early on, and I actually agonized over as far back as 2018, long before the team exists, was what to call the team. So many people told me real estate is personal and that clients trust a face and that my name needed to be a part of that brand. And honestly, it was good advice at the time. It was well-meaning and it certainly built early trust. But over time, that same decision started to create friction. The kind of team I want to build isn't a starter team where people spend a year or two before moving on. I want partners, people who can see this as a long-term home where their careers and ambitions can actually grow. And that's really hard to do when everything they build on is still tethered to my name. If they're going to build their own brand, their own reputation, their own relationships, and they should and will, they need to be able to do that without it being tied to mine. So whatever comes next, it's not going to be Christy anything. And that's a flag that I'm planting pretty hard. I talk a lot about staying open-minded through change, but not on this one. No open mind here. The new name is going to stand on its own, and that's exactly how it probably should have been to begin with. Another thing I'm beginning to rethink is specialization. I've resisted it for a long time because I wanted agents to learn everything. But the truth is, most agents struggle to self-diagnose their strengths, and they can get defensive when directed. In our market, when the median price is in the mid to upper 800s, a more specialized high-value client experience often serves everyone better. So I'm open to an entirely new path here, where agents focus on buyers as a buyer's agent for several years before they expand into listings, with clear standards and milestones on how they advance. It's not about limiting anyone, which was always my fear. It's about building mastery before multiplying complexity. And finally, another thing I've been kind of harsh on is certifications. I've been a skeptic because, let's be honest, there's so much fluff out there. But moving forward, we want to create our own internal standards, and we want to leverage reputable programs like REBI or Select NAR designations, but only when they truly add value to what an agent is doing. Don't get me wrong, I love baby agents. I love their energy, their creativity, their chaos. It's contagious. I love the spark they bring from other industries and how it shakes up old school thinking. But I also really want peers who can push me, people who will bring something new to the table and challenge me as an agent and me as a team leader to be better too. That's a mix that I really want to have next time. Before the national changes and settlements ever hit, Washington State rolled out its own buyer service agreement requirements. It came into play in early 2024. That timing ended up being one of the best things that could have ever happened for us as a team. While much of the industry scrambled to adjust once the settlements and things came into play, we had already sat down and defined our buyer value, what we actually do for clients, and what that's worth. We listed every touch point, every unseen hour, every moment of strategy, advocacy, and emotional labor. Then we built a commission menu that aligned services with compensation. This sounds familiar now, but at the time, it was pretty groundbreaking. Honestly, this was one of the most powerful exercises we ever did as a team. It was collaborative, insightful, and a true reclaiming of our understanding of value, both the value we offer to our clients and, maybe more importantly, the value we were recognizing within ourselves. For years, buyers agents didn't really have to define their worth. Compensation was almost entirely dictated by whatever the listing agent negotiated. There really wasn't much agency in that system and no real control over how our work was valued or even perceived. When Washington rolled out the new laws, we didn't just react, we used it as an opportunity to rethink what value really meant to us. And what we found was that our worth isn't tied to the transaction. It actually starts long before the paperwork. Client perception begins the second we step out of the car, or perhaps from the second we answer the phone. Seattle is actually one of the most casual markets in the whole country, but that makes it easier than ever for us to forget how much first impressions matter. I once found out an agent on my team was showing up to open houses in basketball shorts. It's a true story. I was livid, and honestly, I still get pretty irritated when I think about it. But that one, it was on me. I hadn't set that expectation clearly enough. You can't assume that people will know what professional means in an industry where the dress code swings from Prada to Patagonia. Seattle's casual, but clients notice how we show up. Wardrobe, grooming, the car, the headshot, fair or not, it frames their experience. And that's why one of the things we're incorporating is we're going to do lifestyle shoots every quarter for anyone on the team who wants to show up. It's fresh headshots. Talking to you, agents who haven't updated since 1980. It's new social content. It's consistent brand presence. New agents are going to have access to a stylist and a basic brand kit so their outward presence matches the level of service that we are utterly determined to deliver. This isn't Louboutins and Birkins cosplay. It's alignment. It's about making sure the experience we promise matches the experience we look ready to deliver. For all the noise about technology taking over real estate, here's the truth. AI isn't coming for us. It's coming with us. It's a tool. It's not a takeover. I teach a class called How to Train Your Chatbot. Yes, a spin on the movie about dragons. And it's mostly about better prompting and making sure your outputs are compliant. If your listing remarks read like a fair housing nightmare, AI wrote them and you just didn't check. We as agents and as an industry can do better. We need to use AI to catch HUD issues, to handle first touch replies, and even answer and triage calls so real estate leads don't fall off a cliff while we're busy showing a house or, let's be real, grabbing a coffee. The reply in 30 seconds or you don't care online lead myth is a ridiculous standard for humans, but it's absolutely perfect for an AI assistant. AI won't replace great agents, but it will multiply them. It gives us more bandwidth to do the parts that actually require us: empathy, negotiation, strategy, and trust. Technology can streamline the work, but it can't replace the work of rebuilding. That's the part that still has to be done by hand, by mind, carefully, intentionally, and occasionally with a hammer. I should also apologize to everyone in advance. I come from a new home building background, so the construction metaphors, they're going to be many, they're going to be plentiful, and they're just going to happen. I can't help it. Seattle's full of bad flips. A lot of them. New flooring on top of 3 layers of old. Carpet over hardwoods. Pretty on Instagram, but broken underneath. Teams do this too. They layer new on top of dated and then somehow rebrand it as a strategy. We're not doing that. We're taking it to the studs. We're keeping the good framing. We're replacing the rot. We're rerunning the systems, and then we're going to finish right. This isn't a flip. This is a remodel, and we're building it to last. Well, at least until the next evolution of this business, and then we'll do what needs doing again. I don't have all the answers here. Nobody does. But I do know this. What got us here won't get us there, wherever there may be. We'll keep what's worth keeping, and we're going to remake the rest to match the future we see coming. I'm Christy, and this is Teamwrecked, a real estate team remodel in real time.